आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि कृपया राष्ट्रगान के लिए अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं।
नमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
भारत के माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय श्री जगदीप धनखड़ जी, माननीय संचार एवं उत्तर पूर्वी क्षेत्र विकास मंत्री श्री ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया जी, सचिव डाक विभाग श्रीमती वंदिता कौल मैडम, सदस्य वित्त डिजिटल कम्युनिकेशन कमीशन श्री मनीष सिन्हा जी, हमारे आमंत्रण का मान रखते हुए अन्य विभागों से आए अतिथिगण, देश के सुदूर कोनों से आए सेवा के अवकाश प्राप्त वरिष्ठ सदस्यगण, देवियों और सज्जनों, इंडियन पीएनटी अकाउंट्स एंड फाइनेंस सर्विस के 50वें स्थापना दिवस पर आप सभी का हृदय से स्वागत है। समारोह की इस कड़ी में मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी से आग्रह करना चाहूंगी कि वे कृपया शॉल भेंटकर उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय का अभिनंदन करें तथा स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट करें। Now, I'll request Member Finance Digital Communication Commission, Shri Manish Sinha, for his welcome address.
Honorable Vice President of India, Honorable Minister of Communication and Donor, Tripos, distinguished guests, my esteemed colleagues, and a large group of officers of the Indian Post and Telecommunication Account and Finance Service. It is with immense pride that we have gathered today on this 50th Foundation Day of Indian IP&TAFS cadre. This is just not a celebration of the passage of time. We've had a lot of dedication and excellence in whatever we have done in all these years, and we hope to be able to celebrate that today. Sir, the bureaucracy has been at the heart of India's governance and institutional framework. We in the Indian P&T Accounts and Finance cadre also embody this ethos, ensuring financial prudence, operational discipline, and strategic foresight in managing the backbone of our nation's post and telecommunications sector. More than 50 years ago, in 1972, this service was established. In 1974, we had the first set of recruitment in this service, and it's been 50 years of transformative journey that we have been through for the financial governance of the communications sector, which includes both telecommunication and postal. Over the decade, we have emerged as a backbone of India's communication infrastructure, driving key activities like spectrum management, spectrum auctions, bringing in lakhs of crores of revenue, and also annual revenue collections of tune of 25 to 30,000 crores, besides managing the postal revenues, which is collected all over the country, various post offices, and brought down to a very rigorous accounting mechanism. So we have also collected a lot of fund in the Digital Bharat Nidhi, which helps build the network in inaccessible areas and has been very productive in the last 1.5 decades. Asset monetization and public sector financing are two emerging critical functions that we perform, and we believe that we have been handling it efficiently. So the unwavering commitment that we have in navigating the complexities of financial management, in recognizing revenues, in collecting them, in bringing them to good accounting, using the license fee, the spectrum usage charges, it has played a pivotal role in strengthening the telecom sector. And this sector really drives India's transformation into a digital powerhouse. So there are a lot of technological changes coming in, and we hope that these activities will lead to greater achievements in the digital ecosystem. The focus has been on collaborative approaches, and we have been able to design systems that bring in more collaboration in terms of funds, in terms of budgeting, and we always are a step ahead of whatever the changes that are proposed in the sector. So initiatives like Telecom Technology Development Fund, the Production Linked Incentive are schemes that have strengthened the foundation. The former fosters advancement in 5G, 6G, in IoT, while the latter has attracted substantial investments, boosting domestic manufacturing and exports. Sir, our officers are involved in playing a pivotal role in achieving these milestones and by ensuring meticulous financial oversight, efficient resource allocation, and strategic planning. Their expertise has been instrumental in translating policy initiatives into tangible outcomes, driving innovation and enabling communication sector to emerge as a global leader in digital economy. So as Member of Finance at the Digital Communication Commission, I believe that strategic financial planning will be key to unlocking the vast potential that India's digital transformation has. We are focusing on cost-effective measures, sustainable developments, and we hope that we can bridge the digital divide in the country and provide connectivity across all the geographies in our country. Through this prudent financial management and innovative funding models, we have been fueling the growth of the digital economy in this country. A key aspect of this is also the spectrum management, which is very vital for the telecom landscape. As we continue to navigate the complexities of spectrum allocation, there is an urgent need to rethink traditional methods of management. The method of allocation needs to evolve, better reflect the economic realities of the digital area, balancing the demands of the new technologies with the need of a fair and efficient allocation method. It is essential that we develop models that measure spectrum utilization efficiency, spectrum values, and then let the management not be hindered by outdated regulatory framework. Officers of our cadre have put in a lot of endeavor to develop expertise in financial governance and regulatory oversight to facilitate efficient spectrum management and drive innovation in the telecom sector. Postal side has its own reach, its own large network reaching to almost 1 lakh, more than 1,50,000 post offices. It has its own complexities in the accounting and budgeting procedure, and the largest network in the country to reach money till the last point and then bring back that money collected at the last point to the central corpus. Our officers are working very hard to ensure that it happens in the most efficient manner. We also, the fintech utilization, though it rides on the telecom network, but one of the bigger utilizers is the Department of Post. And by ensuring that the postal department uses this as one of its key activities. So on this golden jubilee, let us reflect on the critical role of our officers as custodians of financial discipline and innovation. We can move from process-driven approaches to outcome-driven approaches and bring in greater efficiency with advanced communication technologies by 2047. So I take this opportunity to congratulate every member of the Indian P&T Accounts and Finance Service. Together, let us continue this journey of excellence and ensure that work inspires and enables India's growth story for decades to come. And then once I again thank Honorable Vice President of India, Honorable Minister of Communication and Secretary Post, other dignitaries who are present here, that you have really inspired us and helped us celebrate for the entire service. Thank you very much. And Jai Hind.
थैंक यू सर। अब माननीय संचार तथा उत्तर पूर्वी क्षेत्र विकास मंत्री श्री ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया जी से अनुरोध है कि वे कृपया अपने वक्तव्य से हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें।
Honorable Vice President of India, our most respected Jagdeep Dhankar Sahib, on the dais with me, Secretary Post, Vandita Kaulji, Member Finance, Digital Communications Commission, Manish Sinha Sahib, and all the members of my IP&TAFS family present here this morning. It is our utmost honor that on this important milestone day, we have amongst us none other than the Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankar ji. A visionary leader whose commitment to upholding the democratic traditions of our age-old country, steering our nation with his guidance towards a path of prosperity, towards a path of progress. And we're indeed honored to have with us today, as we will find out in a short period of time, his wisdom, his experience, his guiding light. And for me personally, someone who has always showered his blessings, always guided me, and therefore it indeed is an honor for me personally to have with us today the Vice President of India at this wonderful function. Vice President, sir, 50 years ago, a vision was born in our country. A vision where we had the thought of merging professionalism along with the spirit of service. And in that drive, a cadre was formed that would become the very lifeblood of India's telecommunications sector. Today, as we mark 5 successful decades of both unwavering commitment and extraordinary contributions, our cadre, today I would like to acknowledge and celebrate the transformative role that each member of our family has played over the last 50 years in taking our telecommunications sector forward. Your incredible spirit to serve the nation has very clearly shown that true patriotism is not only about loving Bharat Mata, but is also about serving her. And that stands out as a beacon, as an example for many other services. Our IP&TAFS was started with this same very commitment. And when the birth of our cadre took place, Honorable Vice President, sir, our telecommunications sector in India was in its very nascency. We were far behind our Western counterparts. We were dependent fully on foreign technology. We were limited to the landline phones, the rotary phones that a model of which that you just dialed. We were used to manual switching systems. And mobile technology was a very, very distant dream. And in that environment, it is this cadre that has formed the very backbone of our telecom sector, strengthening us financially and empowering us to look at new fields of development. Your growth has been monumental. You have powered India's dream to achieve the unachievable, to convert dreams into reality. And your success can be defined by 3 very clear pillars. The first is bringing stability to our sector, regaining strength and regaining prominence for our sector from the murky waters of the spectrum imbroglio, clearly defining a path for spectrum management and the brilliant innovation of the SARAS platform. A round of applause for all of you that have brought about the SARAS platform that manages all the license fees and also provides not only a pathway for government, but the process that our Prime Minister has always talked about, ease of doing business for every single stakeholder in our telecom industry. The second pillar is the pillar of empowering our family. where, respected Vice President Sahib, we have over 5 lakh pensioners in our communications family, from BSNL to MTNL to the Department of Telecom. And all of these pensioners today, through the Samman platform, receive their pension on time and the right amount, thanks to our family sitting before us today. The third pillar, in a sector that has always been not evolutionary, but has been revolutionary. A sector that has moved not in incremental form, but a sector that has moved in monumental strides. Is always the challenge to be able to keep pace with technology. And if our department, our sectors, post, telecom, has been able to do that, that is because of the capability of my family standing and sitting in front of me today. This family, respected Vice President Sahib, has been a repository of well-informed counsel to all stakeholders in government. And today, whether it is about unlocking the immense potential of our precious resource, our airwaves, our spectrum, the methodology of that. We are now moving from terrestrial networks to non-terrestrial networks. It will be a quantum leap for our country. The crystallization, the definition of that. Or as Manish ji said, the consolidation of the Digital Bharat Nidhi, the DBN, formerly called the USOF, where today we have a corpus of 84,000 crores. 84,000 crores, the largest non-lapsable fund of the Government of India. Taaliyan thodi kam bhaji. Why this is important, I want to state and restate, respected Vice President sir. Because this is not a khazana. This is the means of connecting the unconnected. This is a means of bridging the digital divide. This is the means of bringing 140 crore of our family members from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Bharuch to Prayagraj, to where the sun rays hit the Bharat Mata soil of Arunachal Pradesh, and to connect them with the power of information and communication. And if this has been possible, it has been possible because of your effort of bringing the Digital Bharat Nadi together. And so, sir, we are on a growth path in India in our telecom sector. Having achieved a telecom penetration of greater than 86%. The words that we stand by, our mission, our values, our goals, our principles, inclusivity, innovation, and security. This is the kavach that we will hold for every single citizen of Bharat. And with these three guiding mantras by our side, as we grow the telecom sector, 10 years ago, we had 250 million internet subscribers. Today, we have 954 million internet subscribers. Every single person in this country would only consume 1 GB of data. Today, the average GB of data consumed is 20 GB. Broadband subscribers have increased from 60 million to 924 million. I have always said this, sir. I had the honor of serving in this ministry for the first time when I became minister in 2007. And I say this now, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's leadership, there has been a paradigm shift. We followed the world on 4G. We marched with the world in 5G. And Bharat Mata will lead the world in 6G. And that is possible because we work as a family. Every dint of hard work, day and night and day, that every member of our family puts in this effort will lead us to that cherished goal. The Department of Post, sir, today is the largest distribution network across the world with 1,64,000 post offices. We serve the common man. We bring dreams to light. Not only officers sitting in Dak Bhavan, but my Gramin Dak Sevak, my Dakya, who on the field goes from house to convey service. He is the epitome of our slogan that Dak Seva is a Jana Seva. And she is the purveyor of every single dream of every single individual. And even within the Department of Post, where our officers serve, we are undergoing a huge revolution. Our department is going to go digital. Our department is going through a business process restructuring exercise, where we will transform ourselves in the days to come into a logistics corporation, where we must become the leaders in the world with a new business avenue that is growing in terms of e-commerce. And that transformation will also be brought about by my family members sitting here today. So as we look at these new opportunities, where paradigm shifts are going to come about, whether in the telecom sector it's looking at 6G, where we will contribute 10% of patents to ITU, or whether it is in the Department of Posts, that paradigm shift and that change, that metamorphosis, that chrysalis has to be brought about by all of you. The world is our oyster, India's oyster today. With machine-to-machine learning, with AI, with IoT of things. And we have a wealth of talent in terms of our STEM capability, in terms of the initiatives that government has taken, such as the PLI scheme, where in the telecom sector alone, with 4,000 crores of investment, close to 50,000 crores of telecom equipment is being manufactured in India, and 11,550 crores has been exported today. और इसलिए जो प्रधानमंत्री जी सदैव कहते हैं कि भारत के सफर में, जब अमृत काल से शताब्दी काल के सफर पर भारत माता निकल चुकी है, उस सफर में 140 करोड़ हमारी देश की जनता का योगदान होना अनिवार्य है, क्योंकि मेरे भाई और बहनों, यही समय है, सही समय है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you very much, sir, for such an overwhelming and inspiring address. अब मैं आज के कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि महोदय, भारत के माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय श्री जगदीप धनखड़ जी से अनुरोध करूंगी कि वे अपने बहुप्रतीक्षित उद्बोधन से हमें अनुप्रेरित करें।
Very good morning, all of you. Because these days, to be effective, you need support. The support is here. It was not appeared. Honorable Minister of Communications and Department of Northeastern Region, Sri Jyotiraj Sinha, he has made my task very difficult. His name signals transformation. Jyoti. He carries on his shoulders this legacy of another great illustrious son of this country who stood for transformation that was accoladed all around. Late Madhav Sinha. He was Madhav to many, I was one of them. He led many of us. I was recipient of his indulgence when I got into parliament in 1989. I'm so happy and delighted that Jyoti is carrying his Jyoti for benefit of the nation in this manner. Friends, it is human genius and spirit that alone brings about transformation. Having a concept evolved is difficult. To be a leader is difficult, to execute is easy. Trust me, in my long career of several years, having been on several global platforms, and having had the great occasion to be part of the highest legal bodies globally, it is one of the rarest speeches I have heard where he talked to the family. And this is how you lead. He exemplified virtuosity, commitment, passion, mission, persuaded you for execution by indicating that yes, we have done so far, we have come a long way. From Amritkar to Shrapni celebration, I am greatly touched. And therefore his conclusion, यही समय सही समय है और इस समय सब कुछ मुमकिन है. I am sure the nation will have no hesitation in subscribing to it. Madam Vandana Bodhi, Secretary. Sri Manish Sinha ji, Member Finance Digital Communications Commission. When I ran into him for the first time, I told him no one loves a money finance. I revised my opinion after listening to the Honorable Minister. A fraternity that is not to be loved by anyone is now my favorite. Transparency and accountability emanate normally from fiscal discipline. And if you can discipline in a soothing manner like Nani or Dadi, and the lessons are learned fast. The Honorable Minister in a short time has delivered, I would say, entire copy of homework. But ladies and gentlemen, he is so grounded to reality because our per capita internet consumption is more than that of China and USA taken together. That speaks of two things in particular. One, accessibility. You can't use unless you accessible. And second, adaptability. A nation of 1.4 billion is having that kind of a situation. The Honorable Minister alluded to the massive banking inclusion that was effected under visionary leadership of Prime Minister Modi. But the impact is there. Our digital transactions last year were 4 times the combined transactions of USA, UK, France, and Germany. And it is in this perspective I joined the Honorable Minister in calling your attention, which is technically a parliamentary role. The rise is incremental. It has to be more vertical. Because it is the Honorable Minister's leadership that will take this department out of the gravitational force, away from sky to space. I have no doubt about it. Distinguished officials, no, I recognize the family. कहते हैं नाम में क्या रखा है, सेट करने का। मैं कहता हूँ नाम में कुछ रखा है, आत्महत्या लंबे नाम में तो कुछ रखा है। Indian Post and Telecommunications Accounts and Finance Service. I am happy to be here. And I know 5 decades are a long time. I have been in my marriage for 4.5 years. So indeed an achievement, a milestone achievement, as the Honorable Minister rightly indicated. This moment demands, and after 5 years I will also get demands. Ladies and gentlemen, this moment demands not just commemoration, but a clear-eyed vision of our role in shaping India's future trajectory. And that has been done by the Honorable Minister. It was occurring to me that who should I put in Sunset TV to first understand, analyze, and put it across the nation. I picked a brilliant man because this he has done clear-eyed vision and has motivated, inspired, energized not only you but me as well. Friends, as your service advances, India moves purposefully towards its destiny as a developed nation by 2047, demanding unprecedented adaptability and foresight. We are at the moment 5th largest global economy, on way to becoming 3rd in a year so, ahead of Japan and Germany. But I can share with the genius of this family. To be a developed nation, though no standards are set globally, but there is convergence on one aspect, per capita income. And that per capita income in this country has to take a quantum jump of 8 times to be able to realize the status of a developed nation. I have no doubt in my mind the developed nation is no longer a dream, it's our object. We are on way to it. And I'm happy to share with you that in this marathon march to Viksit Bharat, where every Indian is involved, the communication will be nurtured, further enhanced, and blossomed by this family. पूरे देश में विकसित भारत का एक बहुत बड़ा हवन हो रहा है। इस हवन में हर कोई आहुति दे रहा है। प्रधानमंत्री के विजन की वजह से हमारा सपना साकार हो रहा है। हमारा सपना हमारा लक्ष्य बन गया है। पर इसमें पूर्ण आहुति, जिसमें कम्युनिकेशन को है, आपके द्वारा संभव। The parallel journey, friends, compels us to reimagine our purpose and chart an ambitious course forward. India's democratic journey exemplifies how diversity and vast democratic potential can fuel national progress. We have seen it in the last 10 years. Otherwise, we were part of President 5. There was never an occasion when I was a minister 35 years ago that anyone would ever from global entity accommodate us. Now, International Monetary Fund says we are favorite global destination of investment and opportunity. And as a tribute to this family, the World Bank president who was in India during G20 reflected what India has done in digitization. In single-digit years, it is not possible normally for anyone to accomplish in 4 decades plus. That's what they call it. India's model of digitization is being replicated globally by several countries. Leaders of those countries with whom I have had the occasion to interact so indicated. But friends, democracy thrives not just on systems, but on core values. If there is a family that has good income, rich income, everything around, materialism is a fleet, there has to be a core value system. Our democracy also has to form a core value system. It has to be centered on the delicate balance of expression and dialogue. These twin forces, expression and dialogue, shape democratic vitality, where progress is measured not by individual positions, but by the broader societal benefit. Friends, today's institutional challenges from within and without often stem from the erosion of meaningful dialogue and authentic expression. अभिव्यक्ति का उद्गार और सार्थक संवाद दोनों ही प्रजातंत्र के अमूल्य आभूषण। अभिव्यक्ति भी और संवाद भी एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं। दोनों में सामंजस्य ही सफलता की कुंजी है। और यह सामंजस्य स्थापित करने में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका आपके परिवार की। Communication. Friends, as we chart our path forward, we must recognize that democratic health and economic productivity are inseparable partners when it comes to national development. And therefore, let me focus on some critical, the attention on which is required from your end. Service remains our cornerstone. Your roles as administrators, financial advisors, regulators, and auditors must evolve to meet tomorrow's challenges. This evolution demands that we transform service delivery from traditional method to cutting-edge solutions. Let me tell you, you are aware more than I am. We are at the cusp of no less than another industrial revolution. Digital technologies have invaded us. They are with us in our home, in our office, everywhere. They offer challenges and opportunities. Artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, blockchain, and the kind. We are feeling the heat. We have to measure up to the challenge, to convert the challenge into opportunities and make life of everyone in this country seamlessly connected to his or her ambitions. I'm happy to note, and other services can emulate your methodology. Our services need to be more dynamic. They have to adapt to rapid technological challenges, societal challenges, while maintaining foundational integrity. Our privilege of nation building now carries greater responsibility because we have to script and also architect, realize the vision of a developed nation at 2047. The second requirement which emanates from Gita. As a matter of fact, this country has civilizational ethos of more than 5,000 years. Our Upanishads, our Purans, our epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And Gita has solution to every problem we face. But what has been said in Gita, I quote, Yeg Arthartha Karmano, gains new relevance in our tech-driven era. When work becomes yeg in this digital age, it creates transformative impact across society. When it happens yeg, results are not arithmetic, they are geometrical. And therefore, every digital initiative becomes a building block towards Viksit Bharat at 2047. This demands innovation, thinking out of the box. It demands that an idea that occurs to us should not be parting of mind. It must be tested. The next is modern civil servants must be tech-savvy, facilitators of change transcending traditional administrative boundaries. We must have it. We can learn this lesson from our children. My grandson took my iPhone and said, Nana, why are you calling for a mirror? He put the screen, clicked, and I could see it was a mirror. The Honorable Minister rightly focused. Security has taken a new dimension now. And that security is you have to protect beyond your boundaries national digital assets. It has become crucial. Cyber security and data integrity are vital, and they are as vital as fiscal prudence. We have seen recently in news reports how systems have been paralyzed or made dysfunctional, and the invasion was not conventional. So, you are taking on the also from this place. India is a distant country for a simple reason that we are wedded to very strong ethical standards. And therefore, our ethical foundations must also extend into digital realm, setting new benchmarks for transparency and security. The future, friends, demands quantum safe encryption and blockchain-based accountability systems. I know you are fully geared to lead these transitions. Time to take a big leap. The next in my mind that I need to share with you is cross-departmental collaboration becomes vital in an interconnected world. This is very important. We must be in synergistic mode. We must be in sync with each other. I have quite often impressed on everyone the doctrine of separation of powers is nothing but that the three institutions, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature, they must act in tandem and togetherness. They must act in harmony. Trust me, there will ever be issues in the family or in the system. Issues are organic. Issues help us go forward like a failure. A failure is not a setback. It propels you to attain success next time. But we must learn to respect the other point of view. It is your discretion to accept the other point of view or not to accept it. But to reject or not to entertain the other point of view is not civility. But surely it is antithetical to our cultural values. Rising above silos, and some people love to be in silos. I'll make one reflection which you will appreciate immediately, because you are not concerned, you are well settled in life. International Monetary Fund said India is a favorite global destination of investment and opportunity. I'm sure they did not mean it is for government jobs. They must be thinking of other opportunities. And therefore, our youth is today in the silo of government jobs, unmindful of the basket of opportunities that is ever getting enlarged like a balloon. It is primarily the job of communicators like you to make the people aware, the youth in particular, that in every part, sea, land, sky, space, things are getting for the better day for India. Blue economy, space economy are things our youth have to focus on. That's another thing which you people have to keep in mind. And these principles taken together must guide us in navigating disruptive technologies. And why? India is amongst the very few countries, you know it, 6G, 4G, 5G, 6G for a layman like me means my telephone will be fast. But I know, Honorable Minister, you have divided 6G exploitation in two phases. The commercial exploitation takes place from 2025 to 2030. In these areas, when I find myself as a layman, I have sought assistance of the government to make me a presentation, and I was so energized when the scientists made a presentation to me about green hydrogen mission, quantum computing, disruptive technologies. Otherwise, for me, machine learning was a meaning from lexicon, and so was blockchain. I was enlightened in these years. Friends, India advances into these big areas. We are nations in single digit, amongst single digit nations when it comes to these technologies. And therefore transformation is inevitable. But the transformation must be accompanied by ethics and our ethos. Transform from guardians of traditional systems to architects of digital governance, enabling next generation service delivery. As a matter of fact, the world has to be controlled in our country. And that has to be done by the current youth and Gen Z, which means all people born in this country after I had taken my first oath into the Indian Constitution in 1989. They are critical now in shaping the future of this country. The two events are not interconnected. But then the ego in us is irrepressible. We have to work very hard to control our ego. Ego serves no one, but damages most the person who purchases it. Friends, focus on bridging the digital divide through innovative financing models, rural technology adoption. I'm so happy to know it's a priority with the Honorable Minister. With the world's largest youth population, which we call demographic dividend, and everyone in the world, India's demographic dividend offers unprecedented opportunities. Your digital initiatives must harness this young talent pool through skill development and digital entrepreneurship. The best that has happened in this country are three things. We miss them. An ecosystem that allows every youth in the country, on account of affirmative initiatives and government policies, to unleash his or her potential to realize dreams and aspirations we did not before. The second was equality before law. Those who for long fought, and that was a ground reality then, that they are above law, always pedigree, that has disappeared. The third, corruption that eats into meritocracy, corruption that eats into talent of the youth, is no longer there. Power corridors have been sanitized of those nefarious elements who extra legally leverage the decision making in this country. That big change has come. So you can reap the harvest now. I'm a farmer. So a farmer will always keep an eye on harvest. I must commend the department, and I'm sure other departments will need it. The emotive mind of the pensioner. If he gets any hiccup in getting his pension, you are making him a storehouse of worry. That is not mediocre. I am sure your model will be adopted by others. On the legislature front, the Telecommunications Act 2023 must evolve continuously and continually through supplementary framework for emerging technologies enabling young innovators. Some gaps are to be filled. These are not written by the notification and tools. I no doubt it will be done. Friends, audit, self-audit is very important. The surest way to bring about degeneration of an individual or an institution is to keep it for the gentleman or gentle lady from school. You have beyond school. Your degeneration is assured. And therefore, self-audit, an audit beyond self is essential. And I therefore strongly urge adopt artificial intelligence powered audit systems while maintaining human oversight for critical decisions. Shape policies that balance innovation with stability, ensuring India's digital leadership while creating opportunities for our youth. I'm sure I'm concluding. So I take the hint from the Honorable Minister. I'm not concluding, I'm making concluding observations. In summation, friends, your journey forward demands mastery over disruptive technologies. You have to fructify the ambitions of our rich human resource, which we call a demographic dividend. May your service catalyze India's transformation into a global digital leader. We are on way to it. Harnessing our democratic strength and young population to build an unparalleled digital civilization. I am grateful for two things. One, the opportunity to share my thoughts with this family. And equally important, the opportunity to hear the Honorable Minister, Sri Jyoti Sinha.
Thank you very much, sir, for your lively words of wisdom and vision. अब आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि कृपया अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं राष्ट्रगान के लिए।
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
कृपया अपने स्थान पर बने रहें। कार्यक्रम का दूसरा चरण शीघ्र प्रारंभ होगा। हमारे गणमान्य अतिथि अभी मंच पर विराजमान हैं, कृपया शांति बनाए रखें। आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि अपने स्थान पर बैठे रहें। कार्यक्रम के दूसरे चरण में एक फर्स्ट डे कवर, इन हाउस जर्नल और एक फिल्म का प्रदर्शन किया जाएगा। ऑडिटोरियम में किसी का आधार कार्ड पाया गया है। उनका नाम है हर्षित सिंह, जिनकी आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि कृपया अपने स्थान पर बैठ जाएं। आप सभी से आग्रह है कि कृपया अपने स्थान पर बैठ जाएं। कार्यक्रम का दूसरा चरण हम शीघ्र शुरू करेंगे। कार्यक्रम के दूसरे चरण में एक बार आप सभी का पुनः स्वागत है। कृपया अपने स्थान पर बैठ जाएं। On the occasion of 50th Foundation Day today, the Department of Post has made a special cover on Sampann and Saras, the two milestone digital programs of the Department of Telecom. Madam, these programs are conceived and implemented by the officers of our service. अब मैं सचिव डाक विभाग श्रीमती वंदिता कौल मैडम से निवेदन करूंगी कि वे इस अवसर पर डाक विभाग द्वारा जारी किया गया विशेष आवरण विमोचित करें। मैं सदस्य वित्त श्री मनीष सिन्हा जी से आग्रह करूंगी कि वे भी इस शामिल हों। We are honored to present the first edition of the in-house journal of our service. It's a bouquet of peer-reviewed articles and research papers which are relevant to the communication sector. Now I'll request Madhvi Das Madam, NCA Finance DG, to please give the first journal to our esteemed guests. Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you, sir. Now we would like to share the journey of our service through a short film. तो मैं esteemed guest से जी आपसे अनुरोध करूँगी आप करिए।
50 years ago, in 1972, our vision became in 1972, our vision became a reality. The Indian Posts and Telecommunications Accounts and Finance Service, or IP&TAFS, was established to provide financial governance for India's growing communication sector. Today, it proudly stands as the backbone of India's communication infrastructure. With over 50 offices across India, IP&TAFS officers recruited through the UPSC Civil Services examination proudly shape India's communication systems. From pioneering revenue sharing in the Ministry of Communications to managing project appraisals worth crores and mobilizing revenue for public sector units through asset monetization, we are driving impactful financial transformation in the telecom sector. Our journey, which traces its roots through centuries of innovation, is marked by incredible milestones. 1727, first post office was set up in India. 1851, India's first telegraph line was opened in Calcutta, 1972. Establishment of IP and TAFS as an organized civil service based on the recommendations of World Bank. 1974. Recruitment of first batch of IP and TAFS. 1989. Telecom Commission was established to modernize telecommunications. 2000. DOT cells, which were later renamed as Controller of Communication Accounts, CCA offices were established. 2010. First spectrum auctions were held. 2011. The foundation stone of NICF and Apex Training Institute of IP and TAFS. 2018. The Sampann portal transformed pension disbursements. Foundation of building project of NICF was laid. 2023. NICF was awarded the Utkrisht status by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. IP and TAFS has transformed the Department of Telecommunications by revenue assessment of 3,500 companies, revenue collection of 25,000 crore rupees annually, positioning us as one of the largest contributors to the Government of India's non-tax revenue.
We are also the highest non-tax revenue collectors in the government today.
Spectrum auctions worth lakhs of crores, bridging the digital divide by contributing over 1.6 lakh crore rupees to the Digital Bharat Nidhi. Monitoring of projects like BharatNet to connect rural and remote India. Financing high-speed connectivity projects for strategic islands Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep. Digitalizing processes with the Saras portal for ease of doing business. The Sampann portal, dedicated to the nation by the Honorable Prime Minister, provides seamless pension sanctioning and disbursement to 4,50,000 retirees. During COVID-19, we processed 80,000 cases, ensuring financial stability for thousands of pensioners. Through 23 postal accounts offices, PAOs, we oversee the accounting for over 1.5 lakh post offices nationwide. Our work streamlines audits, manages PLI accounts and finance, supports speed post, parcel operations, and the modernization of postal services. We also played a key role in the foundation of the India Post Payments Bank, promoting financial inclusion for the masses. IP and TAFS is shaping policies for 6G, IoT, AI, satellite communication, blockchain, and digital payments, ensuring India leads in global innovation. As we celebrate this milestone, we honor our past and embrace the future with dedication. Together, we work toward a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. IP and TAFS. 50 years of excellence and a future of endless possibilities.
इसी के साथ आज का ये कार्यक्रम संपन्न होता है। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और अब सभी से आग्रह है कि जलपान की व्यवस्था की गई है, उसके लिए आप लोग इस दरवाजे से, जो A1 कहलाएगा, A1, इस दरवाजे से आप लोग जलपान ग्रहण करने के लिए on popular demand, I would request the team of NCAF who have organized this entire event for past this event of 2 days, and they had been working hard over almost 2 months. I would request them to please come on the stage. Now, I would like to request our esteemed guests who have retired from the service to please come on the stage for a group photograph. The program continues after the tea. We'll reassemble here for the next program. And I have a suggestion. This is a great opportunity to get a picture clicked of your badge in front of the dais. So kindly wait. After this picture is completed, please come batch-wise. Senior first. Batches from introduce.
He has previously held key positions in DOT headquarters and Principal CCA Delhi, where he served from 2014 to 2017. Sir carries substantial experience in telecommunications and finance. Before joining the civil services, he worked as financial derivatives trader and analyst at Future First for 2 years. Next, we have with us Jatin Bansal sir, a distinguished officer of 2014 batch, Indian Post and Telecommunication Account and Finance Service. He serves as Director of Accounts in Punjab Postal Circle. Prior to his career in public services, he gained valuable experience as an IT professional in multinational corporations and as a banker in India's largest public sector bank. At DOT headquarters, he held pivotal positions, including director and OSD to telecom secretaries. He now serves as a prestigious committee for IT 2.0 and postal life insurance reforms. Next, we have with us Nikhil Srivas, sir. He is esteemed officer of 2017 batch. He serves as a joint controller in Delhi, overseeing administration, revenue, and pensions for Delhi Telecom Circle and internal audits for Northern Telecom region. Sir is a gold medalist in public policy from IIM Bangalore. He has spearheaded landmark initiatives like Prachi for pension grievance redressal and Spread for telecom compliance. Next, we have with us Vinit Ranjan sir. He is 2020 badge officer of Indian Post and Telecommunication Account and Finance cadre. He is serving as director wireless finance at Sanchar Bhavan, New Delhi. BTech in electronics engineering from Bihar. He has a diverse professional background. He worked as an analog engineer in Intel technology, contributing research and development for Core i3 processor. Sir served as nuclear scientist at BARC. He gained expertise in nuclear physics. Welcome you all, sir.
Thank you, Shubhani. Respected member finance, respected additional CGCA, respected EG ma'am, and all the senior respected officers present here. We stand before you as a panel discussing the future of communications finance, and we hope to be guided by all of you in this discussion, because without your blessings and without your knowledge, the panel does not move forward. So we will do the open house for question and answer after the panel discussion. Right now, the structure which we would follow is, I would request all the panelists to express their vision of communications finance. And I would request them to focus on two aspects. The first is the policy level changes which you anticipate happening in the next 15 years. And the second aspect is the evolution of our service in sync with those policy level changes or the technology level changes which you foresee happening in the next 15 years. So the first person I would request to open the session is Manish.
Good morning, everyone. Respected seniors, it's an opportunity to be here. So, as Ankit sir has asked to give us a vision for the communication, so something unique happened to me when I joined after my leave. So, I joined after my leave and I saw this clipping of Live Mint on my table. So, it has a mirror on it and it says, "The believer of India, you have been driving force behind developing India's iconic business." And it has a mirror, so you can see yourself in this. And you see all the pictures, those are here. They are the CEO of all digital service platforms. Like I can see Swiggy, Zomato, Paytm CEO. So it's like, then it made me think, what's my position in this picture? So if you see from finance side, a lot of businesses are getting developed in digital domain. If you see Paytm, Zomato, Swiggy, all these are riding on telecom networks and a lot of businesses are developing. But are we sure that these businesses are sustainable? These businesses will be stable. So who ensures the sustainability of this ecosystem? So I think that's the role we need to play. We need to become a service which is in future is going to support the business, transform the business, and make sure that the market is stable. So that's where I see my service getting into it. Now, specific to policy level changes, now there are few areas like Member Sir, Honorable MOC, everyone has talked about spectrum management, and I deal with also spectrum issue. So if you see what's happening around in the spectrum scenario, there are certain very typical and interesting things happening. If you see 6 gigahertz band, so it's getting demanded by IMT also, satellite also. Now we are unable to take a decision. And what's happening across the world? Facebook, Meta, which is called Meta now, is developing a lot of AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality solutions on this. Now, as of now, if Facebook has to deploy these technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality games, we do not have sufficient spectrum on which it can ride. So what's happening? The Western market is getting developed. One day, what will happen? We'll take a decision. We'll either open up 6 gigahertz band for delicensing or for IMT. By that time, the market in Western country would have been stable. They would have developed. Now, it's already developed, and India will become a potential market for them. So what happened in this process of delaying these things? We did not allow our domestic industry to develop these solutions. So it's like sometimes when we do not get into depth of it, when we delay something, we actually create repercussion in our economic development. Now, this is 6 gigahertz. Now, again, if you look at satellite issues, we are again struggling what's happening in the satellite domain. There are multiple views whether satellite spectrum should be auctioned or it should not be auctioned. Should it be dealt on parity with the IMT spectrum? Now, if you see satellite picture in detail, you will see IMT players, the input for them from government side is a spectrum and output is internet and connectivity. For satellite player also, what they need from government other than authorization is spectrum, and the output will be they'll be delivering data services. Now, if you see input and output for both of them are same, so a lot of people are claiming same service, same rule. Now, it's very intuitive to think if they are delivering same service, that they are demanding same thing, they should be treated on parity. But my point is, these questions are not that simple. It has a lot of nuances in it. Can we deal satellite industry the way we are dealing IMT industry in such a native and nascent stage? So these two case studies, multiple case studies, like sir also talked about PLI scheme. Now, PLI scheme, yes, it has been very successful. But if you get into detail of it, you need to see that PLI scheme should incentivize the value addition. So the kind of value addition which is happening in our domestic economy, that should be incentivized. There is a lot of complaints, a lot of media reporting that people in Indian industry take something from, they import something, they repackage it and utilize the benefit of PLI scheme. So all these areas, if you look into retail, the point is these are actual financial problems, and though they might not look like a financial problem, but these issues are in detail a financial issue. Now, if you look at communication finance future, then we will have to come out of our own very traditional financial setup mindset and start venturing into these domains, because these domains are going to be very important for India in this time frame where most of things are running into digital domain. Now, I'll share one experience related to ITU, what's happening across the world, because if you feel telecom sector, I think people need to realize that telecom sector mindset should not be restricted to only India. You will have to develop a global mindset to really understand what's happening. Now, if you see ITU and 5G case study, if you think about 5G, so all the operators, what they did in 5G was they deployed the 5G standard, which was developed by 3GPP, approved by ITU, and right now they are facing the problem that we are not able to monetize the 5G technology. Now, see the problem. Our operators did not do anything wrong. They were given spectrum. They purchased the spectrum in a huge number. They invested 1.5 lakh crore. They rolled out 5G. Now they are stuck up in the problem that my 5G is not getting monetized. So whose problem is this? Was the standard developed in a wrong manner? Because if you look at from operator's point of view, they did not do anything wrong. They were given a standard. They took that standard. They deployed the technology in a fast manner. They supported. In fact, India had a fastest rollout. Now the problem is this is not getting monetized. So whom should we ask? Where is the problem lying? So in my opinion, these problems can be solved only if a financial person gets into these difficult questions. If the standard is getting developed, is the standard giving scope of monetization or not? Why is the standard which is getting developed is not giving any scope of monetization to Indian industry, Indian ecosystem, and Indian telecom players? So I think time has come where our service dealing, since I know about telecom sector, dealing in such a technologically dynamic sector, need to come out of the traditional financial mindset and start venturing into the difficult questions. And let's see if we can solve the problems. It will be in great national. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you, Vineet. That was very, very well put. I would now request Nikhil. So I would now request Nikhil to put the postal perspective in it and even the telecom perspective.
Respected member finance, my esteemed seniors and colleagues, I would like to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Present my views. I mean, I understand that we are young officers, so our views would be all over the place, but still the opportunity has been given, so I'm thankful for that. And before I start about the future of communication finance, I would briefly like to touch upon the aspect of communication finance, because this is something that has been bothering me for a couple of years, especially since last 2 years since I've moved out of DOT. Well, while I was in DOT, this terminology was, it resonated very well when we said communication finance. And more so because I've been told to give the postal perspective. From the postal perspective, I feel when we talk about communication finance, we are limiting ourselves and we are leaving out a lot of fields which are specifically on the postal side, and which are really very, very important, and which they are our uniqueness, our core competencies, and which they can be unique selling propositions for our service. So those things, like as the Honorable Minister in the morning said that he wants to transform, the transform word was used I think more than 100 times in the morning. For the postal side, he said he wanted to transform the postal department into a logistic department. To that extent, the core operations that are there in the postal side are in the logistic field. And when we talk about communication finance, somehow I do not, the logistics do not resonates with communication finance. Similarly, more than 50, in fact, 60% today of the revenue of the Department of Post is coming from the BFSI, the banking and financial services and insurance. I mean, leaving out banking and insurance from I mean, these are our domain expertise. If we leave them out, I mean, we will be doing a great disservice, and we will be stifling our path. I mean, these two fields can go anywhere. On the insurance side, on the banking side, you can go anywhere. So my first apprehension is on the use of the terminology communication finance. So I would just say that and in fact, I'll give you an analogy on this part. When I joined the postal side, I had to interact with the P&T audit a lot. So I came to know that they have also rechristened themselves as FNC audit. So they call themselves now as finance and communication audit. So to that extent, communication finance and communication may look like same, but I mean, I feel there is a 180-degree difference. When you say we are finance and communication, we are building ourselves two pillars. That entire finance is ours, plus entire communication is ours. Somehow when we say communication finance, it is like a tunnel vision. We are saying communication, and within communication only finance. So to that extent, I feel that maybe that can be reconsidered, or maybe that is just my blabbering. So this is only the communication finance part of it. As far as the future of communication finance, I mean, there is very little left to say, since we had two great orators in the morning, the Honorable MOC and the Vice President of India. I mean, the way they have laid out the path, as I said, they've used the word transformation more than 100 times. The transformation is already ongoing. I mean, I do not want to touch upon the telecom side because the other speakers would be talking about telecom. Telecom, the transformation is visible, and all the things are happening today. So, but what will happen is the pace of it would now increase manifold when we talk about Viksit Bharat and the timeline that we have to 2047. So, all those things which we have been doing in the last couple of years, or at least in the last 5-6 years, will be very fast. So I see our role, our service role on the telecom side transforming into generally a regulatory role, which is already ongoing. So TRAI today is very powerful. It has already been, and I see more power going to TRAI just on the lines of FCC in US or the Ofcom. So I see so our service should pitch in, take that opportunity with both hands, and I had we have a service senior, Vinod Kotwal ma'am is here. So she has been in TRI. She has also been in FSSAI. So that is one branch that goes. If we can pitch ourselves as ones who are experts in policy making and regulatory, and then it opens a whole new field. So regulation, as in the morning was also discussed, and then the new the TDF, as member finance sir was saying in the morning, the TDF, the PLI, that is the new domain that is coming up in on the telecom side. I don't want to touch upon the telecom too much, and the legal, the IBC in the last 5-7 years, the kind of in fact, I see our service, our service should think about pitching ourselves as, crisis managers. Because in the last, since the 2012 judgment of the Supreme Court, since then, it has been one crisis after another that has hit the telecom sector, and we are at the backbone of it, and we are the ones who have been, holding the, jokingly, we have had very stressful situations wherein, somebody is attacking our service and all those different things are happening. And I would, every time I would have a discussion with all my friends, I would tell them, let there be the next crisis, and then they'll realize where is finance, and then the people will call up, "Ko bulaiye, finance ko bulaiye." And no, I've seen. So every time the BSNL is going down, the MTNL is going down, or whenever the new minister is joining, and the first meeting that he is taking is USOF ki mere ko 2 din ki presentation chahiye. And so finance is there. We are always despised, but we will never be dispensed with. So we should not be too insecure of our future on the telecom side. On the postal side, as I said, it is a whole new world on the postal side. It is not that tech savvy as it is, but it is a commercial department. We are into operations. There we are actually competing with railways. Our scale is very limited, but we are competing with railways. So railways is managing, they are doing procurement and all. To that extent, the same functions we are doing on the postal side, running the operations, doing commercial accounting and procuring all things, but at a much lower scale. But still, nobody, we can still pitch, that we are the unique service which has both the benefits. At the cutting edge of technology, we have the telecom sector as well as we have the operations that is there on the postal side, and we are doing into we are doing logistics. We are managing assets on the postal side. We have, when somebody says that we have 1,65,000 post offices, they are actual physical assets, and who is managing the finance? People are looking at it. So, I mean, these are all thoughts we can ponder upon and then see where this takes us. But we should not leave out those parts when we chart the future of our service. That's it. Thank you.
Very nicely put, defining us as crisis managers. And now I would request him to go live on the future of communications finance and the key benefits of actually.
Thank you, sir. And I first of all give my vote of thanks to the NICF for organizing this event, and I wish all my IPT&T AFS family and my fellow panelists who have spoken so well on the communication finance, the vision and the ideas of it. Sir, I will only be driving the attention towards the IP&T AFS name. When it comes to the IP&T AFS name, maybe we are doing justice to the ITAS. But when it comes to the finance, we are somehow under delivering. This is what I feel. Maybe we are too much account centric, thinking more about accounting, compliances, and reporting, and thinking less about the finance oriented progressive mindset, which covers about steering strategically and financially the entire sector of communication. Maybe we can think about 50 years is the right time to think about that we may also develop new avenues, as my fellow panelists have pointed out, and not just end the celebration today. Let us take it as a stepping stone where we will grow our service with each following year. We can develop telecom credit reports, we can develop telecom credit indices to make the finance and credit available to the rest of the industries. We can also think about establishing telecom intelligence unit and not just telecom assurance. We can also think about promoting the priority sectors by changing the LF levy, by having a differential levy system across the sector, so that if we want to promote any particular stream, if we want to promote suppose women entrepreneurship, we can give a small kind of a relaxation, say for 3 years in the case of LF. If we want to promote, say, MSME, we can give a small relaxation to the LF for the MSME sector. So that is how we can maybe drive the sector in a particular direction and have more role into the finance and not just the accounting. Accounting, no doubt, is the backbone of any organization. But finance is something which is more progressive, which thinks about being as a driver of that particular sector. We can also think about AI-driven forecasting. We can also think about having more role in the internal audit. The ideas are manifold. Whenever we see the WhatsApp, whenever we invite any comments, whenever we invite any ideas, then we get a multi-plethora of ideas. But the thing is, we also need support from our seniors. For example, when someone from our family, a small child, draws a drawing, no matter how bad it is, if it is its first drawing, we put it on the fridge, we put it on the refrigerator, we nurture that. So that is how we also expect from our seniors that maybe our ideas would be bad in the start, maybe our ideas would seem nascent, to help us grow those ideas, to help us nurture those ideas so that that drawing, that skill itself will become something good, something better in the future. Maybe we can push our juniors, means we will love our seniors to pull up us from the chair and drive us to innovate something, push us to implement something. Even if we are not having, this panel itself is not the only one who is having ideas. Each and everyone sitting in this hall has some ideas. Maybe as a junior, we are looking up to you to pull us from our chair, pull us from our comfortable chair, and just have us implement your ideas, have us implement your dreams, have us implement your vision. So that is how we see as a young officer, as a young panel, we see our service going. Maybe we can push more juniors into the other departments with reputation so that they will also learn and they should imbibe the best practices of the rest of the department into our service. We are seeing the world changing like anything. Like it was never changing before. The telecom field, earlier the transition was happening maybe in 10 years or 20 years. Now it is happening in any year. Like he was talking about, Vinny was talking about the satellite finance. Sir was talking about our role into the domain-specific fields such as insurance or banking. These are some of the sectors where we can contribute. But the thing is, we also need support. We also need some kind of a platform. So it is my humble request to all our seniors and all that, let us work together. So let us work together and make this service better. I have seen, and I'm sure we all have interacted. We have one of the best domain, first subject domain when it comes to civil service. And maybe we are the only civil service in the entire nation who has the nomenclature of finance. The nation thought this finance means something and it has a great importance in the telecom and postal segment. And that is how they gave it to us. Rest all the services, maybe our account services, maybe our expertise service, maybe they are digital. But we are the only finance service in the entire nation. So I think we should do justice to it. We have done justice. A lot of things we have implemented. Maybe we should take a step more forward. We should pace up ourselves and go more into the thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. There is a very old philosophical question which we perhaps all grapple with, which goes like, are we who we are or are we what we do? The perfect answer to that I found in a movie which says it's neither. It's how we do things. And I think in that how lies the zone of our competence. So my belief, based on the suggestions of all three panelists, is that we as a cadre really need to build up on our competence. When we try to say that this domain can be ours, this domain can be ours, it is all very fine and good. And with the kind of confidence which Honorable MOC expressed in us today, which perhaps we ourselves lack, it's time, in my opinion, that we get rid of the existential crisis and the chip on our shoulder, which we perennially struggle with and which we have struggled with for ages. And the only thing which I believe can help us lose that chip on our shoulder is our confidence. It's the how of doing things. And if the world is for our taking, we can do banking and financial services and insurance. We can, in my opinion, we can venture into special audit. We can venture into adjudication. We can venture into the legal aspects of IBC. We can venture into spectrum, the new domains of satellite finance and 6G. But my belief is for all of that, we need to build our competence, not just in broader areas of finance, but we need to understand technology and operations. What I believe is without understanding technology, we will always be lopsided. That is my belief. I find myself to be lopsided when grappling with, in my stint as director LFA, I found myself grappling with, I always thought my knowledge was sufficient. I can describe what is going, how the chain of deductions work and what is interconnect user charges, but I have not seen it happen. And I do not understand that technology. So based on that, I always think that first thing, my belief is we need to understand tech. We need to understand tech, especially as Vineet said that with all these new technologies happening, which are perhaps like not much more than Mexican period right now, personally to me as well, we need to understand that. And that requires hard work, perhaps beyond office hours, to go through the trial reports, to understand 300 pages of bench documents. It is only then which I think is that we would be able to meaningfully contribute to anything. The second thing I think is the very knowledge of finance and accounts. We are all finance and accounts people. Personally, I've faced a lot of tough times doing the assessment just because I did not understand the finances. And it took a lot of time for me to understand that. And even now, I know my competence is not up to the mark. And I do believe that at least for my batchmates and juniors, I can say that their understanding of financial statement, it's lacking is the wrong word because we come from many different backgrounds. But I think that we need to focus on that before we venture into new domains, which we should, which we will. But we can only do that when we have a rock solid foundation of finance, accounts, and tech. So that is my belief. Coming to the what Vineet said, and I will pose this question to Nikhil also. The way this sector is evolving is, first of all, spectrum user charges have been reduced quickly. So very soon there will be, as the current allocations of spectrum expire, one very big chunk of our whole work perhaps goes up. Deduction verification regime has evolved in a manner that most companies are now only doing intra-company products. The intercompany transactions have reduced to zero. In the era of deregulation, it does not, it is a matter of time because that the work of deduction verification is drastically changed or perhaps and it is only a call of time. It is not for us to decide that. We have to change with the times. I posed a difficult question to Nikhil that with this kind of deregulation, which has to happen, it must happen. How do you think with perhaps SEC assessment going away, DVR going away, and this is only for the telecom tax. So I posed this question to Nikhil and both to me that if this whole work goes away, and we are branching out into this sector, if we are not very sure of, how do we navigate this?
Sir, with all due respect, we collect more than 25. That's a huge figure. But we often see the revenue collection from the quantum alone. When we talk about SUC going away, we are very worried about the revenues getting dropped. When we talk about the DVR going away, we always talk about our work going. Our work is not just limited to DVR and SUC. Our work should be more open towards where this sector will go. How we can enhance or how we can enrich the sector through finances, through better finance. If SUC, reducing SUC or say going away with the DVR makes this sector better, I think that is something which is okay, good for our entire service. So as I said, maybe we should not restrict ourselves with the idea that okay, 80% or this much revenue is something which we have to get. We have to maximize our revenue. In fact, DOT itself in the very last policy says that revenue maximization is not the goal of the department. It is not. Our goal should be to develop this sector. So this development or the priorities of this sector will be developed if we start analyzing and we start promoting certain relaxation, certain sector see, we support the industry into two forms. First one is to either give the subsidy, or second one is to reduce the levy. So maybe we can experiment with these two ideas. One is to subsidize the priority sector or the sectors which we feel should be supported through the DPN. The second thing is we should think about getting some relaxation for the industries which we feel are more priority. So our work anyways, we should not see with the limited lenses of HUC or DPR. We should be finding new avenues for the sector to evolve.
I think, Nikhil, I cannot agree more with your opinion that we are not supposed to be revenue maximizers. We are the facilitators of the industry. We have to see ourselves as catalysts of the industry. And we can only evolve and progress if the sector progresses. So I agree that if DVR work reduces or if the SEC work goes away, I don't mean it in the way that the revenue decreases and we are going to be sad about it. We should not be. But we do have to think about the legitimate replacement as one of the core words. If it reduces, then where do we go from it? So that point is very well taken that we should not see ourselves as revenue maximizers. We are not revenue maximizers. We are revenue assurers and that is it. But I would then pose this question again to Vineet again. The same question that is there something else we see apart from supporting the industry itself? But to what end? What are the kinds of competencies we require to support them? Whether it be in technical fields, legal fields, finance fields, finance, what are the kind of competencies we think that we must acquire over the next 12 years to help us go and progress in the services?
Thank you, sir. I have a very firm belief that our service can go only if we are incline ourselves in the direction of national aim or national development. We need to do meaningful job to make sure that service grows. Now, see, if you see the telecom sector holistically, I'll quote one GSMA report. It said what has happened globally is this sector has seen a ratio which is capex to revenue. Whatever is the capital expenditure in telecom sector versus the revenue of the telecom sector, this number is increasing in last 40 years from 20 to 40. So if you see the sector, what's happening is our operators are making less money, but they're investing more. So now see, going away SUC, going away DVR, it might look to you that we are reducing our work, but we cannot expect that certain work will remain continuous for all the time. So it's like this sector is going to pose you new challenges. Now you have to think of solving those challenges. Why are we stuck up in old problems? SUC had to go. It will remain there till 2041 because 2021 was the last auction we did with SUC. After 2041, we will not be doing any SUC assessment. But this sector, meanwhile, is throwing so many new challenges that it's important that we take those new challenges and start solving it. Now, you specifically asked what's the competence we are thinking of. So, point is, we need to. I also feel that we do need to understand the technology well because right now looking for a problem which is purely financial, it does not deal with technology, is I think living in fool's paradise. We will have to get into technology, understand the technology, and link financial problem. When I look into a problem, I see the problem looks technological problem from the top, but if you get into it, it's purely a financial problem.
But it's just the jargon you need to wade through.
So I'll quote you an example also. I want to quote a Delhi High Court case between Lava and Ericsson. Ericsson filed a case in against Lava. Lava was manufacturing mobile handset in India. And Ericsson said, since they are using my encoder, so it's a violation of my standard essential patent. This case went on. Effectively, Lava lost that case and it had to pay 244 crore to Ericsson. Now, if you see this problem, it looks like a standard essential patent, intellectual property. It looks like a technical problem. But let's get into detail. The detail was they wanted to develop an agreement in which certain percentage of telephone costs should be paid to Ericsson. So at the end of the day, it was a revenue share problem, which both the parties could not agree. Now, the second question which Delhi High Court himself asked was, this revenue share problem, should it be applicable on one component which Ericsson made, which is the encoder cost, or should it be the cost of total handset? So it's a revenue share problem on which component? So these are the actual financial problems. It's just on the top layer, it's a technological problem. So in my opinion, if we start navigating through technological domain and get into the real grounded problem of finances, we'll be doing a great justice to this sector and great justice to our service itself, because we'll be doing great meaningful work for the development of the national economy.
I think very well put. There is one clear thing in my head that we need not be scared of it, and because it's not going to leave us alone. We cannot understand the financial conditions of the license agreement without understanding the operating security and the technical conditions. And even if we do, that is a lopsided partial knowledge. So I pose the question to you also, Jyoti. The same question, perhaps if I feel this way, what are the competencies you look at as a target to stay relevant and update it?
From the telecom point, I just want to make one point. I mean, this is a lower level point that I'm making. You know, largely the discussion has been about high level discussion. I just want that, I mean, a lot of decisions we have already taken in the last 2 years. And I feel that, you know, a case study approach should be used, and all those decisions that we have already taken, these are very difficult decisions. These are financial decisions, and the sector is in stress. And we have been navigating it for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And for that, some decisions have been taken which have been out of the box, unconventional decisions. I think those decisions should be, you know, there should be a mechanism documented, and, you know, a case study approach should be used, and all it should be dissipated to all the, you know, all the young officers that are here. I mean, the decision that was taken in 2021, I mean, the top excellence would agree. The equity proposal that was brought in 2021, I don't think, I mean, we were very apprehensive, to be honest, that we were very apprehensive.
We used to have a discussion from the
We had never, the government had never bought equity in a private company. And that private company was going down. And that private company was the only FDI left in this sector. And the decision that was taken was path-breaking, totally unconventional.
And I think the amazing part of that was that it was clearly accepted in the cabinet meeting.
No, I want to make the point that that decision was taken reluctantly, and it was not, this is, I'm being very honest, this was not something that which came from us. It came from the finance ministry. So, I mean, in the sense that, I mean, this is a financial innovation that has happened in this sector in the last couple of years, and that should be documented. And again, I will go back to the point that it was again a crisis which made us, you know, brought us out of our comfort zone, and we had to take these decisions. So from the telecom side, that's the small thing that, I mean, we are already doing a lot of things in the last 2-3 years. From the postal side, again, I'll just give a brief anecdote, and then maybe I don't have further to add on that. The postal side, my experience has started only 2 years back when I joined the Department of Post. They took opportunity of the, I mean, which is good. I mean, they innovated. I should not use the word opportunity. They innovated during the COVID. So when the COVID struck, all the mail transmission stopped, and the mail transmission was largely with the railways, and they were dependent on railways and air, and all the connectivity stopped, and mail transmission cannot stop. So discussion must have happened, and a decision was taken that, you know, the department will move on to the road and hire it, you know, purchase and hire its own vehicles, and the entire length and breadth of the country would be transferred through the through road transport. And that today is the most important project in the department. That is what the Honorable Minister was saying, that he wants to transform into a logistic department. That stemmed during the COVID crisis. So whenever there is a crisis, different services, all bureaucracy, whenever there is a crisis, we innovate. So what all innovation we have already happened and will in future happen will be because of this crisis, which, you know, moves us out of our comfort zone. So I think, you know, future is uncertain, but what all in the present the decisions we are taking, we should analyze, and we are already shaping our future. Thank you.
I think the future is I agree the future is uncertain and the future is always uncertain for any service, any person in the world, and it need not be a statement of concern for us. I am very sure that the future as a service for us is not uncertain as a cadre. And what I believe is what we do with the time and what we do with ourselves is what will determine our trajectory. If we upgrade our skills, if we upgrade our competence, and so my belief is that the humdrum of daily life does not spare anybody. If we want to upgrade ourselves, we have to do it beyond office hours. And we have to devote ourselves to that path. Because any professional in the world, and I have seen a lot of professionals around myself, and any professional works his salt or her salt does dedicate almost 2 to 3 hours every day to upgrading himself beyond the job hours. That requires immense dedication. So I can very well say that we would like to get into adjudication with the new Telecom Act. We would like to ensure that perhaps the license finance assessment part is given statutory uh, basis in the new authorizations framework. We would like to perhaps ensure that although this is not the right time because it's an era of deregulation, but also ensure that we're competent enough to carry out special audits on our own. We would also like to get into the whole new emerging area of insolvency. It's very sad that a company going down is good job for us, but it is so. And the other thing I would definitely say is that overall technological and legal upgradation of our competencies is something which we have to do, not just to stay relevant, to grow. We will always be relevant, but to grow as a person, to grow as a cadre. On this same note, I will perhaps ask the last question to the panel, and that would be under the new Telecom Act again. What are the areas where you see it is not about domain usurping a domain? It's about fitting into a domain. It's about making the domain ours in a relevant manner, not just staking our claim that this is our domain. But where do you actually see us fit in under the new Telecom Act, the authorization framework, the adjudication framework, perhaps also the insolvency and bankruptcy framework. So the new PC law, also perhaps the data protection bill. So Data Protection Act now. So these 3-4 acts which are there now, where do we see ourselves under these 3-4 new regions?
Before I get on to the question, we have heard a lot of senior speakers yesterday, retired service seniors, who have spoken a lot about how this service and always has this conundrum whether it will close in 10 years, whether it will close in 5 years. We all thought it was a matter of time to do this service actually closes. Our seniors have gone through a lot of hurdles, they have cleared up a lot of hurdles, and now we have completed 50 years. It is for sure that we are there to stay, we are there to grow as a service. So we should also reach this mindset now that we are somehow the service will finish. I am someone who got through in the second attempt. I never wrote the examination because I had great hopes on this. I always believe this service has something which none other service has, and that is a dynamic domain. That is something which is an amalgamation of generalist and kind of a specialist job. So now coming to the question as the new Telecom Act is in force. First of all, we should have more role into the drafting of those acts. We have limited role in the drafting of the rule. Maybe we can contribute more in the rule drafting. That is partially our fault, where whenever the public comments are invited, we are not contributing to that extent. Maybe as a service, we can contribute more. Then about the specific domains where we can contribute more, as you have rightly highlighted, adjudication is one such domain where we have already been functioning as an appellate authority, as a that adjudication mechanism. Now the Act proposes 2 different set of responsibilities, that is the representation and the appellate finance. That is something which we are already continuing, which we are already doing. That is something which we can discharge under this Act. If we see the appellate or the representation, most of the cases, they are only of finance nature. As Vineet has rightly pointed out, they might seem on the outside that they are technological in nature, but the thing is, if you go into the depth of it, it is all finance. It is all something which boils down to the revenue. It is all something which boils down to the balance. So this is one of the area that is naturally asked. Almost 99% of the companies who failed the non-compliance were because of the financial law. So this area is something which is by default are we have to contribute more into this area in a more systematic form. The second thing is that Act also talks about the commercialization of telecom data. That is something which is in a very fine tune. So how that commercialization will happen, what laws, what rules will govern that commercialization, what are the data which can be ethically collected and ethically used, that is something which we can think about under this act. So no, sir, this is the Indian Telecom Act. And then we also have a specific, a whole new domain of digital Bharat Niti. Earlier, when it was restricted to USOF, it was restricted only to the urban, rural, and underconnected areas. Now it does not have such a restriction. It also talks about giving benefit to priority sectors such as women, such as scheduled castes, such as the sectors which are not growing much, which needs fund. So maybe we as a service can identify those sectors first. Right now, if we ask a simple question, say suppose BNO we have introduced long back, around 7-8 years back. Whether what is the state of BNO operators? If we have to answer that, we do not have a conclusive research paper on it. We do not have a conclusive figures onto it. Whether that BNO sector has actually grown, if it has grown, which particular domain has grown. For example, ISP has grown, access has grown, or what services in the BNO has. We have the data with us. What is needed is to analyze those data at the circle level, at the zonal level, at the national level. If we are able to do that, I believe that is something which will help this sector grow a lot. One recent meet which we had in the last telecom meet, one of the operator rightly pointed out there is a huge credit gap which is there in the industry. Means the smaller operator do not get credit despite being a very good service, despite being providing with a huge consumer base, despite being competent enough in the market, because there is no credit rating, there is no credit agency, there is no credit parameters that certify them that they are growing and they are compliant. So maybe we can think about, say, in collaboration with some of the regulating agencies, in collaboration with RBI, in collaboration with, say, suppose hiring some consultancy agency to develop kind of indices for this particular. For example, if a company is compliant and growing, we can give them AAA rating. If the company is not compliant but growing, we can give them a slightly lower rating. This is something which we can think about beyond what work which we are already doing. This is all covered in the Indian Telecommunication Act. So Indian Telecommunication, every line will pose a certain opportunity as told by the as one of the opportunity for us to grow, provided we own the sector. We start owning the sector and not just become, a passive listener to the sector, a passive accountant to the sector. Okay, this is something which revenue has been collected, and this is the reporting figure which we have reported. So if we start owning the sector, both telecom as well as postal, postal is also not something which we should be alienated to. Postal is something which we have intrinsically in our name, Indian Post and Telecommunication Account. Post comes before telecom in the service name. So we should be owning this postal sector also, owning the postal department also. We should be contributing as a department, as our own department.
I totally empathize with this point that we need to own the sector. What I surmise of it is that we need to be in tune with the sector. We have to see ourselves as friends to the industry rather than regulators of the industry. Being a regulator creates a barrier between the regulatee and the regulator, and that never works well for both sides. That is my belief when we talk of economic progress. And I think we have to see ourselves as people who understand the, not just see ourselves, we have to be people who understand the industry, who understand the concerns of the industry, right? Whether it is the VNO sector or whether it is the smaller ISP sector, which is in news recently, or whether it is the new kind of licenses which are going to be issued, the machine-to-machine licenses, whether it is the startups in the AI and machine learning field. So again, I think we come back to the same idea of developing our competence. To be friends to the industry, you have to understand the industry. To understand the industry, you have to be competent enough to. And that brings me back to the point of understanding technology, understanding law, understanding public policy. Without these things, we do not, in my opinion, we stagnate. The service will be there, we will stagnate as people. And when when batches after batches start stagnating, uh, then the service itself stagnates, perhaps.
So I'll take one more minute to give my personal example of myself. I recently learned a lot about corporate finance. So before that, I had a completely different perspective when it comes to the asset line. I used to see the figure, I used to put the figures in and do the asset. But when I read about the corporate finance and took a balance sheet, it was a completely different balance sheet altogether. It was like reading into a completely, a story altogether. It took me 4 days, sir, just to read the balance sheet of 2022-23 of Airtel. And my God, it is almost 70 pages of annual report. It was such a beautifully drafted yet complicated report. And I till now never had paid such kind of attention to that. Maybe because I was not learning myself enough in the corporate finance to that extent which I should have. I think here NCAF role will be very important to train us to develop those competence, especially in the field of corporate finance, corporate laws, where we are actually dealing with. Maybe call up the industry people, call up the industry to teach us. There's no harm about it. It teaches what is your technology, what are you thinking in the next 10 years, what is your vision towards this industry, because that will teach us a lot. When we went to IMC, we saw a lot of products with the AI ML implementation. Most of them were nearly similar. They were using ChatGPT with the orchestrating there, but some of them were really unique. Some of them will shape this sector maybe in the upcoming 2 or 3 years. We won't get to learn it if until or unless we let the industry teach us.
Yes. To that, I think you have addressed a very important issue. And I must say that it has been and it is a privilege and an honor for me to serve at NCAF. And we are trying to make the changes which you suggested. And I always also tell the officer trainees that wherever you are in your life is a platform to do something better. It is not that you have arrived in life by cracking the civil services. We only arrive in life when we are dead in a casket. That is what I believe. So everything we are is a platform. Today is a platform for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a platform for day after. What we do with it is depending on the individual and the cadre. With that, on that note, I would just ask Nitin for his comments on the perhaps the innovative domains and postal. I think you have already touched on that, but perhaps we can go through them again.
To be honest, I mean, I can say, but innovation and postal assets do not go together. But yeah, a lot of changes and transformation is going on in the postal side. So as I've said, that logistically, the department is trying to transform itself into, the hub and spoke model. They are onboarding a consultant who is going to the hub and spoke model in a refined manner, and the entire operations is planned to be shifted from railways to the road. And there is a lot of emphasis on the operations with the D+0 delivery and pan India D+1 delivery and all those things. From the logistics side, there is a lot of transformation, a lot of changes that are happening. In the banking and insurance sector also, as the Honorable MOC in the morning was saying that BPR is going on, the business process re-engineering for all the banking services as well as the insurance services is going on. So rapid transformation of the PLI insurance and RPLI insurance is also going on. And sir, in fact, I am member of both the banking committee as well as the PLI committee. So a lot of inputs are being taken from the industry, and again, we are onboarding consultants to do the BPR. So that is also going on. From the legislative point of view, I just wanted to touch, as the I mean, so I just want to say that, when we talk about the future of this service, we should see what is happening. There is a uniformity in what the government is doing. As the Telecom Act was changed, Postal Act was changed, the Broadcasting Bill would come in, the Data Protection Act was coming in. So the government has understood, these are going to be, these acts are, they were, it was said, 100-year-old, and, they were for the bygone era. And the way we are working now, the regulatory framework was not conducive. So the government is making those changes. On the limited point, a lot of domain-specific things we have already discussed, the telecom sector. I just wanted to touch upon, there are certain core competencies, and the industry is evolving faster than us. So there were a lot of movements in the last couple of years since I've spent more than 5 years in DOT. A lot of things, subtle things that you saw and said, you believe that, we are behind and the industry is evolving. We were hiring a new auctioneer. This was in 2020, I think. So, and there were a lot of bids going on and all. Finally, the auctioneer that was selected was MSTC. So the point here was that we were, our tunnel vision again was that we are the ones who do the spectrum auction. The way the industry and the bidders they came in, they were pitching themselves was that, sir, this is also a natural resource. We have been doing natural resource auctions earlier also. So the auctioneer that we have today has been doing the coal auctions, the coal mine auctions. And that was why he was, on all parameters he ticked, and he was on board it at a very, financially it was very prudent also. But in the sense that and that was also PSU. They were able to pitch themselves as having cross department. You were talking about synergies in the morning. So they were able to pitch themselves as, sir, हमने वहाँ किया है तो आपका भी कर लेंगे. वो भी natural resource है, आपका भी natural resource है. Software में तो वही डलेगा. So that was one thing. There was one point when we were doing, I was in wireless finance. We got a file. This was first time I had seen a file. This was the MOIB file. Ministry of Broadcasting, Information and Broadcasting. They also do auction actually. They do auction. They do radio FM auctions. City-wise, they do much more auction than we do. And in fact, they also give licenses to the DTH operators, and they also have the license fee and the AGR based assessment and all. So there also there is a lot of synergy, and a lot of our senior officers have moved from DOT and gone to MOIB on deputation. So from the core competency, I just wanted to say that, there are a lot of things which are inherently, which we are doing as a core, which are cross department. To that extent also, we should document them, and we should try to pitch ourselves on those lines. That is the limited point of this.
Thank you, Jitin, for your insightful words. As you said, technology changes very rapidly and regulation plays pattern. And it is the way of the world. And we as a cadre have to play that catch up rather quickly because technology is changing at a rapid pace, at an unprecedented pace. And there is literally no time to catch up. I'm very sure there is machine to machine licensing now. And very frankly, I haven't had the chance to go through, which speaks rather unfortunately. So, but I think all in all, we can safely conclude that the service, there is no existential crisis. There should be no existential crisis in our heads about the service. The service is alive and well. Whether we are depends on us. So we have to make sure that we grow with the service, and I'm sure communications finance as a domain will keep expanding. Whether we expand depends on us again. So I think we can safely conclude that with acquiring of legal, technological, and financial competencies, we can expand very well. We will wrap up. There is 5 minutes to go before lunch. So with the respected retirees, respected member finance, additional CBCA NAM here, we would request, and we would be very happy if Purvar sir, Saxena sir, Pillai sir, Kitchener sir, Mr. Mishra sir would pose a few questions to us. Yes. There's a mic.
First, I want to make a comment on the speakers or the panelists. I'm amazed at the depth of knowledge of all the panelists. That is all. In fact, if it were my time, I would have felt threatened by you all. Anyway, sorry. It's real. In fact, I feel that I never knew as much as you know now. Or quite likely it was not the requirement at that time. Because now I have retired to almost 24 years ago. I was advisor finance, the first advisor finance of the UP. But the role of the finance is much more challenging now than it was at that time. Although we also thought it was challenging even at that in different ways. Now coming, I have two suggestions to make. You have all talked about the policy changes. The times are changing pretty fast. The technology is changing fast. Now in this, what is the role of the finance as the initiator of the change of policy? We touched upon that. Perhaps in all small ways you have all touched upon that. But I find that the finance has no role as the initiator of the change of policy. You are playing a second fiddle at the moment. Whatever comes to you, you examine it as that give your opinion and the file goes back. So there should be some role of the finance as the initiator for change of policy because you have many good ideas. But those ideas remain in your mind only because you don't have that power to initiate the change of policy. So my point is, I can request Manish to make note of it and see as to how this can be done in the Department of Telecommunication, Department of. Second is when the times are changing, the technology is changing, and you all have touched upon that, the requirement of competencies. So when the times are changing, the technology is changing, the requirements of the skills are also changing. So you must have a refresher course every 3 years or 5 years, whatever period you decide. There should be a refresher course for a specific competency to develop the skill sets required for the changing times. And NICF has a very good infrastructure now. They can certainly work on such refresher courses in consultation with the consulting companies like E&Y and all that. And he has touched upon that. He has also touched upon that. I think there is a great need of having a structured policy for skill sets development. So that is all I want to say. Once again, my compliments to all of you for working very hard and having a great knowledge of your work. Thank you.
Your suggestions are extremely wise and well taken. I would request my
comment and a question. One thing is that why should we think that finance is subordinate? Hearing Vineet, I was very pleased because I thought that he's repeating what I did when I joined. I was a physicist, and when I joined, I started talking better engineering than a whole lot of IT. So as a probationer, I went to Jabalpur. I don't know whether you have gone to the Jabalpur Training Center, which was the Apex Training Center at that time. And I started delivering talks on fiber optics, which nobody had known at that time in the ITA. And as a result, in the TRC, they set up a special cell for doing optical fiber research at that time. So you can always be the most beautiful statement is you cannot kill an idea when its time has come. So if you have an idea, as a finance, you can initiate that.
exactly.
nobody can stop you from doing that. If you have an idea, you start it.
Totally agree.
And there is no way that anybody can stop it. Only one thing will happen perhaps, and then you have to be ready for that, that you may not get the credit. Somebody else will take a credit, but that doesn't matter. We are here to change the system. We are here to improve the system. So that is one thing
Totally agree.
which I wanted to tell. The other point is that how much of that business and jealousy, fighting spirit you people have vis-a-vis the engineering, perhaps that cordiality is still not existing. There's always a fight saying that, oh, I am a civil servant. I rank higher than him. I believe that perhaps you should develop a cordiality and a camaraderie and a team spirit. Perhaps it is still lacking.
Sir, I think that
there's one more thing and I'll end up. See, the point is that finance has a tremendous advantage in the emerging technology. What Kuvata will get idea. You should create a special cell and a desk and a group of people who are looking at new technology, which are emerging like AI. Suppose tomorrow somebody calls you to do a financial advisor or a director of finance in AI. Are you ready? You should be ready. And perhaps you should know more than the engineer. That's what some of my bosses told me, that if you are doing engineering finance, be better than. And that happened in CDOT. CDOT, I was working with one of those, greatest iconic figures. But when Sam will talk to me about finance, I used to say, you shut up. You don't know anything. And you listen to me. So that kind of a cut, that kind of a extra knowledge if you develop will go. But I wanted to ask you that how much you hate your boss or your engineer.
Sir, I think as a sir, I think as a cadre, but sir, and the personal opinion is that as a cadre, if we are competitive with somebody, that is only when we are not comfortable in our own skin. And when we're comfortable in our own skin and competent with technology, as you rightly said, and which our panel is so centered around, if we know technology, if we know law, if we know finance, I think that element of competition should go away or dilute at least automatically, since we have that competence and that comfort of our competence. Sir, please.
So first of all, I want to congratulate all of you. But nevertheless, I want to give these three suggestions vis-a-vis, because we started with the perhaps the topic of object was also how to improve the prospects of the service. So for that, in that regard, I would like to bring the attention of all officers of the service that we should not lose sight of another very important work that is related to Sampan. I would like to, because I was hoping at least one speaker should have taken that also up. I would like to tell you that our department is appreciated by our secretary, and he has written a letter to the DOPP, the Petty DOPP, in which he has pointed out that in the last DLC drive, we have been able to do the DLC for 96% of the pensioners. So, we are the so how we can further improve the working of the Sampan, because this is really very, very important. This is one work, in fact, if people have worked house also are from the field, and they know that most of our time in the field offices is devoted to the work related to Sampan, and our staff also and officers also. And about the future prospects, I would like to suggest that we can sell this idea, though Mr. Member Finance has dampened my spirit a little by telling that CGA has we have to take up this matter, this proposal with the CGA. Can sell this software to the departments and other places, etc. So this will increase and enhance the work of the officers of our service also. The The second is related to the leakage of revenue. This is very rampant, and some people in the field have been doing some work on this. So leakage of how to stop that, how to prevent that, how to improve the systems, and how to find out our role as a service. Okay, so these are the two suggestions that I would like to give, and please don't lose sight of it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And ma'am, I think it was the idea of DG ma'am to keep this Institute of Communications Finance panel based present at the end of the glorious year as a fitting end to the last 2 days. That we come from the past, always come from the past, but we always look to the future. And we never forget either of them. So with those words, and we thank the respected retired senior officers for being here and indulging us, and and we thank respected member finance, additional CVC ma'am, and we thank DG ma'am and all the senior officers present here for indulging this panel and listening to us. And we definitely felt very important sitting here. Thank you so much. So we end the session and we head straight for lunch. Thank you. We disperse after lunch. So this is a formal closure. I request all the officers to kindly collect their mementos, please. Kindly do not forget to collect the mementos. They are next to the high tea lawns, and NICF officials are there to hand it over. And we will be very